Hey everybody! It's so wonderful to have everyone join us tonight for some wealth building conversation with the Cashes. I'm so excited to be able to do this alongside my husband Tony Cash. Cash, say hey to everybody.
Hey, everybody.
So we're going to give a few people a couple of minutes to kind of jump on. But I, I told everybody earlier that I was so nervous about tonight for many reasons because this is our first time kind of just jumping on together. So we are excited to be here. We're excited that you guys are jumping on with us. We just ask that you do us a few favors. Share, please share, so we can have as many people watching tonight and can walk away with some wonderful nuggets. So if you can go ahead and share to your page or share with a few people, because I promise you, Tony Cash is gonna lay some things out tonight, and I'm gonna share. We're gonna be very transparent with people, so we can get some questions asked, as well as so we can get some financial freedom move within the Black community. So let us know you're here. Type something in the comments. Let us know that you're here. Hi, Sherelle. Hey, Sherelle. Good. I'm glad you that you're joining us tonight. Come on, you guys. Let us know that you're here, that you're watching. We're so excited that you're pulling up um, to the show tonight. Well, to the conversation. It's a talk. It's not a show. It's a talk, a conversation between myself and Tony, and we're just excited about having you. Hey, Barbara. So glad you're able to join us. Please make sure you're sharing. We know how us people do. We jump on. Oh, hey, Joyce. Hey, Joyce. So glad to see you. Please share. Y'all share on your pages and share with your friends and let them know that we're on the Cashes Are On tonight, talking about wealth building in the African American and Black community. And so we're going to be transparent. We're going to be real. We want you to get some questions answered. We got global leadership in the house. Thank you so much. We see you out there. Come on, y'all. Come on in so we can have this live conversation about building wealth in the community. Tony has a unique story, and then we have a unique story together. And so we're going to make sure that we support you guys for a couple of weeks on Tuesday night, talking about wealth building in the African American community. Something that is so, I guess there's some secrets he gonna let out the bag, because there are some habits that we as a community should have, and we're excited to share some of those habits with you and walk with you on this journey. So if you do us a favor, all we ask you to do tonight is share with as many people as possible. Share on your page, tag someone in the post, tell them to pull up to this talk, because they're going to need this conversation tonight. All right. Well, Tony, let's just go ahead and start so we don't keep these wonderful people waiting. Please let us know that you're watching. Say hello in the chat for us. First of all, I want we're gonna start off. I want to start off like this. I want to start off talking about the fact that Tony last year wrote a book called "I Know Why You Broke," right? And even though tonight's conversation is not necessarily about the book, but a lot of his story of why he's in finances, why he believes that the story is important, and why he believes finances are important to the African American community is in that book. So, Tony, start by first of all telling everyone what's your passion about finances, and what made you want to write "I Know Why You Broke."
Well, first of all, the thing that's most important to me is people. And so when I think about people and how I can help them, that's what really matters to me. It's not anything for selfish gain. So just really want to make sure that to me, everything I do is just about how am I able to impact someone else's life or others' lives to make sure that they're in a better place or a better place than when I met them or came into contact with them. So really the book has the same premise. It's just about what can I give back to make other people's lives better.
So let me ask you this. When it comes to wealth building, did you always just have this mindset or of that you wanted to know how to manage your finances? Where did that come from?
I don't. Obviously, I don't think you're born with it, but I do think there was an aspect of me that I always figured there was a better way to handle money. Being a child who being a child who grew up poor and on welfare, I can still recall how from the very beginning of getting food stamps, and my mother at 11 or 12 would have me go to the grocery store, and I had to make decisions on what was best for my sister, my brother, and I. So it's always been there to just understand um, the importance of handling money the right way. And I think that, perhaps God placed me in that situation because he knew the purpose and the plan for my life. So it started very early, me realizing the difference good financial decisions can make in your life.
Well, I know a lot of times people, when they meet me, I don't know if you had this, I tell them I'm married into the name, but you've had cash most of your life. So I was just thinking, with your having the last name Cash, you was just destined to have some type of ties to financial wealth and not be broke. Do you get that a lot? Do people say that? Like, do they ask you, inquire you about your finances, or does your name have anything to do with why you think, you have this very strong connection?
I mean, there's some millionaires who don't have the last name Cash. So if it was a name, then I would probably feel that way. But I have had people, just make that statement
Yes,
just by the fact that that's my name,
yes.
and that it would really be a tragedy just to, live and die poor. So yeah,
Right, because all day you're being reminded, cash, 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 right? somebody
absolutely.
somebody said it means y'all rich. Thank you for the prophetic right there. But no, seriously, one of the things that people need to know, that within our marriage, when I first came, when Tony and I were dating, I had a poor thinking about finances, right? And so we laugh about it now because we've had to make humongous sacrifices in our marriage to save and position ourselves financially the way that we do. And I know I'm jumping into a little bit of the habits, but I just want everyone to know I came to the table not having a full knowledge of how to manage my finances well. I was one of those people that did not have a financial literacy, wasn't in tune with managing my finances well. I wasn't in that culture of what it meant to, you know, manage your finances well. And although I'm an educated Black woman, it was far from my thinking and far from my habits. And so a lot of times people equate education, although you're an educated person and you have these prestigious jobs, Tony, with knowing how to manage money and manage finances. Can you talk a little bit about that and the overall scope of African Americans and how the parallel of being educated don't necessarily mean that you know how to manage your finances well?
Well, I mean, the only thing I can say is I'll liken it to someone who maybe they know how to fix on a car, as opposed to someone who has been trained on how to fix on a car. Um, there's a knowledge that you probably get from just being around cars that sometimes can make you feel like you're an expert, as opposed to someone who has gone through the training, gone through the classes, been around people who have uh, an intellect knowledge about working on cars that just being around people who fix on cars you may not have. And there are intricate details often that you don't get just by living and breathing that you can gain by someone who has the insight, the experience, and the intellect and the training about money. And so oftentimes um, we say we know, but it's not, that knowledge is not opposed against anything else. In other words, what is it that you know that has been challenged? So if your knowledge hasn't been challenged, you may not know as much as you think you know about money. And so the thing about this idea of being educated as a doctor, attorney, lawyer, or physician, I can tell you that money is like 3,000 miles away in terms of knowledge from those things. You need to know nothing about money to be brilliant in those areas. But you need to know everything about money for those particular areas to bring you a return on your life.
That's good. That's good. Is there a reason why? And I think we have a question from Joyce. I'm going to show it in a second. But why that concept that you just shared? Why has it taken so long for our community, for the Black community, to catch on to the fact that just because you may be an expert in this area and you're powerful in this area, does that mean that your expertise in financial and wealth building?
I'll be honest with you. I don't think it's just relegated to a particular culture. I think usually that idea is a personality. And that's why I don't deal, when I'm teaching finances, I don't deal in charts or graphs or balancing a checkbook. I deal in the psychology of money, because the first thing I have to do as someone who helps people on money is really get to the root of how they think. Where did they get the mindset they have? Where did you get that mindset from? And why do you feel that way? And how can we help you see that the way you're thinking is harmful to your finances? And so I don't really think it's a matter of successful people or non-successful people not feeling like they need help with their finances. I think it's a personality. You know,
Oh,
there are just some people that know everything, no matter what you are trying to teach them,
right.
and sometimes to their own detriment. But if you can reach them and deal with the mental aspect of why they believe they know, why do they feel the way they do, and that's why if you're somebody who wants help with money and you're looking for someone to help you balance a checkbook, um, uh, I'm probably not that person. But if you're looking for someone to help you balance your mind, balance your thinking about finances, then I'm the person that you want to talk to, because I understand that if we can't change the way you think about money, if we can't change your intelligence about money, then you can balance debt. You can balance debt to do what you want it to do.
Mhm.
And that's a problem that many people have.
Well, one of the things you also used to tell me, well, you need to balance your emotions. Because sometimes we figure out that we are some emotional spenders. Do I have any retail therapy people out there watching? Go ahead and drop it in the chat if you are a retail need retail therapy. But Joyce brought up a good question. Thank you, Joyce, for this question. Why do you think our culture and community didn't learn about financial wealth before now?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to make a blanket statement and say that we didn't learn about it before now, but I will say that we have historically, we have been deprived
Yes.
of
Yes.
the education
Yes.
about finances for a long time. And and I'll share this with Joyce and anyone who is listening is financial intelligence has to be passed down.
Yes. Yes. Yes, it
And
does.
sometimes what happens in our culture is maybe an aunt or an uncle will finally get what it means to be financially intelligent, but
Yes.
they won't bring the rest of the family together to
Yes. That's
teach
good.
one. So
That's
each one teach one so that every generation has an understanding of what it means to be financially well, to be financially stable. So we have to develop a culture of passing down sound uh, financial information from
yes.
generation to generation. And maybe that's not your son, and maybe that's not your daughter, maybe it's a niece or a nephew, but you have figured this thing out. Then while you may not pass down to them money, I can tell you that sometimes knowledge can be more powerful than passing down money to them. Because if you can just get them the knowledge and the information of how to live better with their finances, then that can be a great aid to their financial future.
So let's just talk about wealth habits right now, because I know people kind of want to hear about some habits that's going to help them become more wealthy or become better stewards of their finances. What would be your top three habits for people to develop good wealth management habits? What would be your top three?
So there's a thing that I have, and I'll be real quickly with it, called FISH,
Mm-hmm.
FISH. If you're
Mm-hmm.
writing, FISH, and I'll also share this information with you all. You know, if somebody wants me to email it or text it to them, but there's this idea that when I think about finances, I think about fish and how if fish is properly prepared, it can be one of the healthiest foods we can eat. It's low in calories, uh, and it has a lot of healthy benefits. Um, and I think about finances just like fish, but the acronym has a meaning. Uh, if we eat a healthy portion of fish, it ensures that we have a chance to have a healthier life. We live longer, our bodies respond better. Well, it's the same way with this acronym fish. It ensures that we have a chance to have a life of freedom, joy, engaging, and long lasting. Number one is it fishes finances, intelligence, spirituality, handling debt. So when I think about the F, it's freedom to live peacefully, freedom to focus on family priorities, making work an option. Not saying that you don't have to work, but when you have freedom in your finances to live peacefully, you have the option to work. You have the option to make decisions. uh, and freedom of time. You know, there's things you desire to do in life before the clock expires. Well, financial freedom allows this. The I is intelligence, and Elisha talked about it before. You've got to learn more about finances. Financial intelligence allows us to gain facts, information, education, and the skills about money so that we can put what we learn into healthy, practical use. This will bring us and our family a positive financial return. S, Spirituality. The way we handle money is a spiritual mirror into our lives. People love to see the other errors of sin or sins in other people's lives, but many times some of our deepest and spiritual people lack character, lack financial character and financial integrity regarding money. So it causes us to live a hypocritical life where we're not honest with who we really are when we don't handle our finances. And God is concerned about us being spiritually sound in our finances. And finally, Elisha, H is handling debt. You know,
Yeah.
have you become stuck in a pattern of never enough? If you make $500 a month to $5,000 a month, handling debt, are you upside down all the time in your finances?
Mm.
Handling debt, are you a person that, as Elisha said, an emotional person? You know, a person who says, I feel like, or I like this, and so I'm going to go ahead and do this. Impulsive.
Well, I think
Hold on,
stay right
hold
there.
on, hold on, and then I'll let you go. And then the last one is, so we've got that last one with H is handling debt. But I want to say something. One more thing. Handling debt, and I want to, if you're writing, sabotage patterns where you sabotage your own finances. Once money comes into your hand, you choose to not use it productively. You choose to use it in a manner that will not yield positive results for you or your family. You find it hard to resist not buying restaurant food, clothes, and personal items that you want but don't really need. Then months and years later, you sit in regret about your financial what? Decision. So I wanted to just say that when it comes to handling debt, that oftentimes we sabotage our own financial future. So go ahead, Elisha.
Well, no, I was only gonna. You were in a place where we kind of like self sabotage. You was talking about debt because what I can do, I can raise my hand and say that I've ran up. Anybody ran up credit cards before? You know, I've ran up a credit card at least 2 times. I thought Tony's gonna leave me on after the second time, but we ain't gonna talk about that. And but he paid them off for me. You know, and but not knowing how to handle credit and not knowing how to handle debt. But now I'm better with credit cards. So see, I just don't like them because I'm not good with them. But coming to an understanding that that was sabotaging our financial future because we kept getting in debt with credit cards and we went into a cash policy, a cash space. And so let's talk a little bit about those habits when it comes to spending, because the true question tonight, Tony, for many people, because you hear this when we start talking about the reasons why a certain percentage of African American community is not successful financially in wealth building, is because they have different things, different barriers that keep them from being successful, such as you not being able to save and not being able to put away for retirement. And one of the things that we hear a lot about is that are they spending too much or do they not make enough? So because you hear both of them, we hear them a lot. Well, I don't make enough money to save, or I don't make enough money to pay down my debt, or I don't make enough money to save for retirement. So we have that group of people. Then we have another group of people that says my spending is too much. You know, I spend way more, or I maximize my spending just as much as I bring in. So can you just talk a little bit about that?
Well, I mean, first of all, I have to keep going back to this financial intelligence.
Yes.
I just have to, because um, what I have seen in almost 20 years of helping people in their finances is that when a person is lacking the financial intelligence, uh, or and let me say this too, part of financial intelligence is seeking out financial therapy,
Yes. Yes.
you know, and being willing to pay for that balance. Because one of the things that I tell people about gaining wealth is that it costs.
Yes.
And a lot of people would rather remain poor than to pay to be wealthy, which is
Yes.
interesting, because you might spend $30 a week on coffee, but an advisor may say to you, if I'm going to give you 2 hours to help you get better, it's going to be $25 an hour, and you might fall out like, oh my God.
Right.
If $50 can help you in 3 months have 1,000, it's worth the trade-off. So when you talk about whether people have a spend too much problem versus a don't make enough problem, that's an individual issue. But the issue that's not an individual issue is everyone has the capacity to be financially brilliant if they're willing to get the training, to get the mentorship, and to allow someone to help them with their finances. In other words, to not be ashamed of where you're at, because where you're going financially means that much more to you than
Woo.
to be ashamed of where you're at.
And I think that's good right there. And we're gonna close out and then come back next week. Transparency. For whatever reason, in our community, we don't like to be transparent about our finances. Now we are aware our money. We would rather look the parts of the wealthy versus making the sacrifices that it takes to actually have the money. For example, I think the average cool sneaker, I don't know if that's a word, or maybe like $200 to $300. Instead of taking those $200 to $300 that we would normally spend on our favorite pair of shoes or what have you, and put it in an investment account and purchasing a share. You get what I'm saying? It's a different. We have a different philosophy of how we spend our money, and that philosophy can only come from getting a coach, having a financial advisor. See, I sleep next to one. So every night he's always consistently talking about money in my ear. It's consistently in my ear about money, financial wealth building. Now I can just admit prior to that, I would not have had this mindset. So in our community, we find that the other affluent communities, they will hire a financial advisor. They will hire a coach, someone that could be look at their finances, get them on track, support them, and that they can ask questions. And so that's the first step we're gonna say tonight. Is we're gonna leave you with this: find you a financial coach, a financial advisor, even if it's not Tony Cash. Find you one. Because if you're going to grow in your finances, you're going to have somebody that could coach you and support you along the way. Everybody that's great at doing something has a coach. We can't get there on our own and our own knowledge. And so that's just my little tidbit for anybody, for everybody watching tonight. You guys find your coach, an advisor, or someone to help you look at your finances to take you from where you are to your goals. Anything you want to say, Tony, to the people?
Yeah, I'm going to leave you with a little tip about being financially healthy, about being in the state and having the stability of good financial affairs, good financial health, uh, strong financial health. I want to give you a few tidbits. Includes having a steady flow of income. It's going to be hard to be wealthy without income. Let me say that again. Prayer is not your income. You got to go to work, sister.
Why you wait to the end to be a comedian? See, this is what
I'm
I'm
just,
saying.
I'm just, I want people to
You wait
understand.
right now to start pulling out jokes.
I'm just saying that because I want you to understand it's very unlikely
I can't with you.
that you're going to obtain wealth through prayer and reading of God's word. That's spiritual wealth. But you have a natural wealth that God wants you to have in the earth. And
Oh
so
boy.
a steady flow of income, low monthly cost of living. Let me say it again, low monthly cost of living. In other words, your income must be greater than your outgo. Strong returns on investment. Alicia talked about that earlier. In other words, your money must make money for you, or you'll get behind the curve with the inflation. And then a healthy savings. In other words, you've got to have a place that prevents you from having to run to the credit card every time you have a problem.
Yes.
Okay. Now, how do we improve our financial health? Well, we sit down with someone who is an expert in finances. We accept what the outcome of the therapy is and not go into denial. We sit down and calculate what our net worth is, and that's simply how much you owe minus how much you have amassed in equity. So if you got a house that's worth 50,000 in equity, you got 20,000 in your account and 10,000 in investment, I think that might bring you somewhere. I don't know if that's 100,000, but you get it. But if you owe 70,000, you only have a net worth of 30,000. So it's your assets minus your liabilities. You want that to be very much far apart. You want your assets to be much greater than your liabilities. And let me say this to you as I close. Seeking financial counseling for emotional and spiritual, and for the emotional and spiritual reasons you abuse money is paramount. You don't just spend because there's something behind your abuse of your money, and you need to sit down with someone to talk about it. And understand debt is not a blessing, but a curse to your wealth and joy in life. Debt is not a blessing. No, it's a curse to your wealth and joy in life. You got to make a decision today that you want to have that healthy financial life. And we're here to help you get there. But then you've got to make some decisions that you're going to accept that help.
Well, this is Tony and Alicia. Um, we are combining our knowledge, his ability to motivate and encourage people for financial wealth building, and my ability to empower people because I care about people and I care about families. So we'll be back next Tuesday, talking more about wealth building, and we will make recommendations. And I saw one person ask the question of, I think we have a problem with trust, and how do we know who we would best be a coach? Go off referrals. You know, we get referrals for everything else, right? Okay, who did your hair? Or who cut your grass? Or I need a mechanic. We get a referrals all the time. So people that you know that are doing well financially, ask them who their financial advisors are and for them to recommend somebody, okay? Good night. It's been fun. Till next Tuesday, y'all join us back. If you heard something you like tonight, make sure you share it. If you want more information on I Know Why You Broke, I'm going to drop the link in the chat right now because we're here. If you haven't gotten Tony's book, he shares information about financial wealth building. So I am going to share that information in the chat, and then you all can get that information on getting his book and share it with everyone you watch tonight. But if you heard something tonight that resonated with your spirit, share it with your friends and your family, and y'all join us right back here next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Good night.